When you call on reporters, are you already kind of gaming out in your head, oh, okay, I know where they're going to go today? Do you kind of think that through?
Oftentimes the questions are predictable. If you just look at the MSDNC Chiron, you'll know where some of the reporters in that room are going to go.
Right. Let me read you something that Peter Baker from the New York Times, I'm sure one of your favorites, has said, but let me just read this real quick and I want to get your reaction. He says this about the White House press shop, quote, "It's clear they're sending a message. If we write or broadcast something they don't like, we can be punished by having access to the pool cut off. There's nothing subtle about it." You say what to that?
That is utter fallacy and completely ridiculous. We have expanded the pool to new voices, independent journalists, podcasters, social media content creators, while continuing to invite legacy media outlets like the one Peter Baker works for, the New York Times, are still in the briefing room, still have access to the press pool, and we are going to continue to move forward with this method. We have received thousands of applications of legitimate independent journalists across the country who were never respected by the White House Correspondents Association. And the privilege of covering the President of the United States on Air Force One or in the Oval Office should not be granted by or chosen by a few elitist journalists in Washington, D.C. That privilege belongs to the American public. And so we are ensuring that new media voices who are responding to the media habits of the American people are included in this process, and it's been phenomenally successful.
I've never quite understood, the White House Correspondents Association has made a big stink about the Associated Press being, kicked out of the pool, but there are other White House Correspondents Association members in the pool, like every day.
They're all still in the pool.
Yeah, they're in the pool.
The reason the Associated Press has not joined us in the Oval Office or aboard Air Force One is because we are in current litigation battle with them in court, which they filed against us, which we don't believe they have any basis to do so because they still have access to the White House complex. And there are thousands of journalists who have access to the White House complex who have never received the same privilege that the Associated Press and many other legacy outlets have of going into the Oval Office every time the president is a press conference. And what gives one outlet the need or the right to do that more than another? We want equal opportunity for all of the outlets who are committed to covering this president with accuracy and transparency, and that's what we're doing.
You talked about the liberal media before you took this job. I mean, you've been talking about the liberal media for a while. Now that you've seen it up close, exactly what you thought? Worse than you thought? What do you think?
Oh man, that's a good question. I think I've been dealing with them for quite some time, so I knew what to expect coming into this role. And I think you have to really focus on the premise of their question because they will inject their own bias into that premise, and you have to go after that premise when they're asking questions. That's
interesting. So going after the bias, kind of seeing that and be able to kind of filter through that,
right,
is what you're saying. Let me ask you just a news of the day question, just one actually, and it's about judges. We were talking to Alan Dershowitz the other day. He believes that these judges that are doing all of these federal injunctions, district judges that are doing these federal injunctions, are part of the resistance movement against Trump.
Totally.
Do you see it that way?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just look at the numbers. The Trump administration, we have faced thus far in 2 months more than 30 injunctions by activist judges. The Biden administration in 3 years only had 15 injunctions. So we have doubled the amount of injunctions that the Biden administration had in 3 years in just 2 months. And why? It's because you have judges who are acting as activists behind the bench who don't like President Trump. Almost every single one of them is a registered Democrat, has been involved in Democrat campaigns or causes, have donated to Democrat candidates. Some of them have even put their anti-Trump bias on social media. They have not been shy about their hatred for this president and his policies, and they are abusing their judicial power. They are trying to overstep the authority of the executive branch and the powers given to the president in Article 2 of the Constitution. Luckily for us, and unfortunately for these judges, President Trump knows how to fight back. He fought against witch hunts throughout the entirety of his campaign. He won court cases. He fought off a weaponized justice system. And that's why he's here, to ensure this ends. And particularly with the case against the Alien Enemies Act and the president's use of that authority, which is granted to him by law. It's completely absurd. You have a judge who is trying to say the president of the United States cannot deport foreign foreign terrorists, illegal immigrants from our nation's soil. If the president can't do that, the American people are in a lot of trouble. So a lot of these cases, all of them, are complete lunacy, and we're prepared to fight back in court to continue pursuing the president's agenda. The American people want the president to do exactly what he's doing. He campaigned on all of these policies and promises, and he's intent on delivering them.
I know a lot of the headlines have been about impeachment of these judges, but Article 3 goes right to the core of the issue, which is that Congress has the responsibility and through our Constitution to establish and regulate the court system. And I know some bills are going through Congress right now, the Rogue Rulings Act and things like that, where in essence, district judges may be able to basically these laws would be able to take district judges and say, no, you're not going to do federal injunctions,
right,
or federal injunctions can only be limited to X, Y, and Z. Where does the White House stand on that type of movement?
The president has made it clear that he believes some of these judges do need to be impeached because they are overstepping their authority. And that's why we have three branches of government. They are co-equal branches of government for a reason. Checks and balances, that's what our founding fathers intended. And they would be rolling over in their graves if they saw some of these cases and some of these judges who are being judicial activists rather than true arbiters of the law and trying to stop the president of the United States from executing his agenda.
Yeah.